So, what is enlightenment? What is real awakening? And why the today's spirituality have many questions that I don't want to say why spirituality these days is bullshit, but there is few serious questions that just got to me when I make the process again with the prayer, with meditation, with awakening, with everything that's happening, with a diet, with a cleansing diet. Whatever happens in my life right now, it's all thanks to that. So at some point you get more and more awakening, understanding, your level gets higher. And for years I've been listening to Eckhart Tolle, Sadhguru, Osho, records of Buddha words, Jesus, Krishna, old teachings of the masters, and those important and well-known yogins from 100 years ago, 50 years ago, and right now that you can see those at YouTube. And we see those in movies and videos. We see what they showed, what they actually speak. And my first question, since all those years I've been studying it, I developed myself pretty quick. I would say my enlightenment doesn't follow after my ideas of life. How can we live? What can we do? Like, I don't follow myself of those ideas which came to me as I call awakening itself. That maybe it's not really even me is awakened or going to enlightenment. Maybe I'm just me, the same every day, but different ideas come up. It's just channel. It just comes idea, and then when you have 1,000 new ideas, the people call you awakened or they call you enlightened because you have so much different ideas. Download it really through the meditation or your intention, without any meditation, without any spirituality. You just download it, it comes, you feel it in your heart, it tells you what is true, what is not true. We call it intuition, I call it heart or intuition, or your own truth that always guides you. But why all the gurus through all those hundreds of years, maybe excluding few people who actually were telling higher truth, why the gurus doesn't tell us how to not eat and function if they are so awakened and enlightened? And I'm just at the beginning of my awakening, and I already got to those thoughts at the beginning of awakening very quickly. And in the middle of this, my journey, few years journey since 2009, 2010, my journey evolves. And just 2-3 years and got you more and more awakening that you can be immortal, that you don't have to eat, or amount of the food you put into your body can be really symbolically in order to feed with more light energy and your purpose and the body that is self-sufficient. Where I proved many times to myself, not to anybody, to myself, that I could not eat for a week, feel better, not eat for a few days on different occasions, even working on the computer with a high brain power, doing many operations during the day, talking with many people. So why all the masters, all enlightened people you see in the TV, well, I say YouTube or TV or somewhere, even United Nations or some organization that normally denies enlightenment and awakening, and even Dalai Lama, why they don't speak out the truth about how yoga, how the technology of the breath and everything leads you to feed of breath and life, not the water, not the food, for sure not the food, for example, because I already got the truth in my heart, and it leads me through the vegetarian diet, through the vegan diet, and through the juice diet, that you can feed off to maximum potential, which is almost zero or no food probably for me in the future. And I already know that, and I'm at the beginning of the awakening. And those guys being enlightened or incarnated as avatars or whoever, very advanced, and they don't say those things. After 30-40 years of those studies in the monasteries and everywhere, nobody say it. And actually Sadhguru and other masters says, you will die, you have to prepare for death and everything. And everything else, almost everything in those teaching of great masters, like Eckhart Tolle, Sadhguru, I really love those guys. That's why I'm not afraid to mention that. But many questions I do have, and there are never answers, come up. And I'm not denying their teachings. But I say, like, I'm not denying the church. A lot of what the church is saying is actually 100% truth, and you can feel it in your heart. But if you have a bucket of water and you put just a few particles, few visible particles of a dirt or something more poisoning to this great bucket of water, all the water you don't want to drink. I don't want to say that you put a little piece of shit into the water, and no matter how big the pond is, how big the pool is, if it was a fresh water, with that little drop, you don't want to drink it no more. Even though the drop is there, and your water here is like, because it's a big pool, because it's contaminated. And that's what I saw from the beginning in the church. The contamination is so big and so important that it says that God is beautiful, God loves you, and you are the God, and find God in yourself, but do something wrong, and the God will God will send you to hell. God will hate you, or don't like you, or don't admire you. Have you seen mother like this? Well, most of the mothers, even on this, well, say, not perfect earth, I mean, the human's not perfect on earth, everything else is perfect, but, well, you don't see mothers could be wrong with their child or stop loving the child. Well, you see it sometimes, probably on the movies or something, but in reality, I never saw mother who do not love her child this or other way. I never saw that. And I'm sure somebody could point it out, example like this. I had a mother like that, I had a father like this. Yes, there is a lot of pathology on this earth, but I mean, most of it, we always love our children. Many of us don't have children yet. But we do know already that we always will love them, no matter what they do. But the religions tell you that there's a sin, that you can do something wrong and you can go to hell or somewhere else, some big bad place. What if I tell you it's not like that completely? That God's love, another love that every masters actually says. So there is a religion and there is a masters. And Master says, like, there is no sin, there is no hell. It's just what you create. It's just what you are. It's just what you project in this matrix, and maybe even after going out of body. But they don't say directly that you can go out of body. No master is saying, you see, there's so many enlightened or very awakened people at YouTube writing the books since hundreds of years maybe, and hardly any one of those admits or mentions that he goes out of body, what he's doing during the dreams, that he's leading completely different life that you might really expect with his understanding. Second thing, they don't mention their sensitivity. Well, I already mentioned I don't claim any enlightenment. I don't even claim super awakening, but there is something great about my awakening. And one of those things is when I started to grow in my desire of knowing the truth in me and truth around, what is the truth, who is not truthful with me, really deeply to the core of the being. I'm not saying that somebody is truthful, like count the money right with you, that's not the truth, that's something you do. So I'm talking about different truths, like in the core of the being. If somebody loves you, or he's really friend of yours, or he's just a friend because he's a need, I don't know, to talk, and that's it. That's why you're friends for 50 years, because this guy has to talk to somebody or he's gonna collapse if he doesn't talk for 3 days or a week. Maybe we are friends like this. So I wanted to know the truth. Who's really my friend? Who really loves me? And at the end, everybody needs something. And this is other spiritual truth. We're gonna maybe come back to it. Why it's all kind of dream and it's a little bit fairy here on earth, and everything's not the truth as we perceive it at the end, because the truth is that you can have hope and greetings and warmth and love from yourself to yourself. And other people here with this consciousness on this earth, they always want something, some self-realization through you that you are an object, even if you're a great friend or a lover, unless you have a really soulmates or something else great, something real. I'm not saying those things does not exist, like real friendship or real love, but all of that I see here is not real friendship, is not real love. Time is showing up that you change, your friends doesn't get what they need from you anymore, and the friendship is basically just on paper, like the marriage signed on paper. Why do we sign the marriages? If the love would be so true, I wouldn't ask anybody, yeah, we love each other so much and we are so truthful with each other, like we see the universe in each other's eyes, but you have to sign the paper now. that you will be with me in the 3 or 10 years, or you always love me. Who's sane would come with that? Only delusional people in fear who are not sure they're love, or they see that's not really love, that we need to sign up the papers for it. That's why, in my opinion, we have marriages. And I noticed that many years ago, before I got awakened, that it's not true, that it's a fear. That if you have a real love in your eye, you meet a soulmate or something, like last thing you think is about getting signed up somewhere with for your love, that is real, that is true, that it doesn't need any paper signature or government permission or anybody else. So why do Masters doesn't say about these realizations and sensitivity that comes to you when you get more awakened, that you don't even want to be around regular people very often? Because they project their fears, they project what they want from you. So every conversation you see, it's an energy going like this. You say something they want to hear, or they don't even care what you say. They want be heard. They want to be heard. You're getting used by the person you speak to, even if it's your friend, kind of. Why do Masters doesn't say about those relations that is like this? And that's why many enlightened and other people get away. They go to the mountains, they live in the deserts alone, 6 months, 9 months in the year. They go to the cities to visit children, to do something else. People like me, people like you. One of the masters like this live in a desert here in Mexico. And, well, I call him shaman. I don't know if he calls himself that, but he lives in the desert and he's a great person. And he's not from India and he's not from Mexico. He's from one of the Western countries, and he's a great developed person. With all the issues like I have, with all unresolved, some not being perfect person, but living in the truth. Other level of real spirituality. I would call it real spirituality. That for now we've been packed with a lot of gurus because they can climb up to the YouTube pyramid. They can climb up to the newspapers that is socially accepted. Because if the real guru, master, would arrive, for sure what he would be saying and what I try to tell to you is not socially accepted, and I'm not going to probably shake hands, to be truthful, with United Nations or presidents of some important organizations, neither corporations, neither banks, neither countries. Unless it's really, I don't know, coincidence, or really something nice happened and people are changing the life and there is an occasion with a president or anybody, of course then you wouldn't negate it. Why? It's just part of life. But not just to go there and be with that sensitivity of awakening or enlightenment between people who think only how to do something good for them, or to keep this thing that is going on earth right now. I don't want to go to the specifics, but you see what's happening, few wars getting all the time, evolving into different wars countries. Nobody cares. Children in Africa still starving without water. Akon in a few years or a couple of years provide 5 million people with electricity or water, and all the United Nations and other programs, charities, big people, big names from one of the biggest companies in the world, from the software, electronics, other companies, branches. They do so much charities, giving billions of dollars sometimes, not millions, billions. Billion is 1,000 of million of dollar. So they've been doing this kind of amount supposedly to charities, and we don't hear any children in Africa get food for real, or electricity or something else. Well, at least I don't hear. And it should be mainstream, because they're popular people. They don't do something society doesn't accept, like many things I could tell you right now, or we are just mentioning. So why do spiritual masters these days, they don't meet, unite? If they have maybe time, maybe they do not have, but for sure they have resources to contact themselves, or their assistants contact themselves and make appointment and change the world. I can understand that. I understood that they do not do it. Again, because maybe you don't want to meet another people so much. If you're awakened, so much enlightenment, maybe it's different that we've been taught about enlightenment from the beginning. That enlightenment is being happy with yourself, and you don't have to go and change the world anymore, or you don't have to meet other enlightened people. That's why I say always that I'm awakened, or I'm having some awakening right now as we speak. but I do feel like meeting similar people like me and other enlightened, other awakened, people who have the same interest. This super 100% natural, but they don't show it. Even though Sadhguru, for example, shows without some other awakened, enlightened people, but the same other awakened, enlightened people do not speak about where we are really coming from, even though they do speak, but they do not tell you in your eye, you come from this and that, and I've been witness of that, or I got the truth because I'm enlightened. They never say that. They never say, if we could go immortal or extend body like at least to 200, 300 years of living, or at least 150, let's not go crazy. 150 years, but normally living. They do not say that. They do not say many things. Who's controlling the earth right now, and why maybe somebody knocked to their door and says like, you can continue living here and doing what you do, but there's 3 things you cannot mention. Because evolution on earth, according to us, is not ready for it. And I don't know who those people could be. Maybe other civilization, maybe some energy form, maybe other people or other race living here, maybe something else. There's different conspiracies. Maybe just a program as a matrix controlling it somehow, that even the masters, even enlightened, cannot go with some thoughts over the matrix, because matrix will not put it at YouTube, will not put it in TV or something. Maybe it's just like this, the pure sci-fi, the pure matrix here, and it's everything is different than we think, and it's really very complicated program, but it shows itself and it shows to people things that he want to see, that he accepts as an intelligence, as a different intelligence controlling this earth, this universe, this dimension, whoever call it, whatever it is called. So what we don't hear, because I heard, well, I didn't heard everything, but I heard so much from the masters and Kundalini awakening and enlightenment, everything. And sometimes I see Kundalini awakened people who are not ready, open through the heart, without any stress, without being hurt, without fears. I see all of that in them, and they claim they have Kundalini awakening, and I have no reason to not believe them. So I trust them that they have it if they claim it. But I see, my first question is, if you have Kundalini awakening and you can go out of body, you can meet enlightened real beings on the different dimension, different scale, out of body, in your dream or whatever, however you come out of the body, why they don't tell you first thing, sit down, open your heart, see the true in you? Why is it not the first thing they tell you? If I got one of those things over the years without enlightenment, without Kundalini awakening, what if Kundalini awakening and enlightenment is a kind of conspiracy theory that is a point in Matrix to show us that you can get there, but it's never here, you know, and the masters show you they go in the cave and they stay there and they obtain it like a miracle. Or in the forest, or living in the desert, like a miracle of obtaining something that you've been praying for. But what if I tell you it's not something you pray for? What if you exercise it, train it, like the muscles on the gym, you know? It's not enough you take steroids if you want to have huge muscles like guys in the movie. You have to go to the gym and know how to train. But today's gurus and spiritual masters show us the people I accept and people I admire, the people I learned from. But people I also didn't stop at them, and I thought different levels upstairs that maybe they don't want to mention or can't, so I cannot really judge that. I want you to understand I'm not going against anybody. This is the people I evolve with and I learned from, and there is not enough words to me to thank them. It's just not enough words. I'm just missing words while speaking because I'm trying to find the right words, and you see I'm losing my language, my English, because I was trying to describe something undescribable. People who taught me who I am, the big part of my success. People who I met in my life and people who I listen to YouTube, like all the masters I've been mentioning right now. But I say they couldn't mention many things. They didn't say that it's not something you obtain under the tree sitting, that you do the cleansing of the body and going in the heart to know the truth, and always ask that and wait for the answer. Question, answer, always from the heart. And then will you know how to do cleansing, how to do detox, how to do meditation. You don't need to read books. You're always gonna know. You're gonna ask, this position is good, tick tick, you're checking. It's okay, just leave it. Or relax your fingers and they're connecting like this after a few minutes. You don't even know when. This is the meditation and practice. When you're awake, you're not enlightened. You don't need to be enlightened. You need to be awake and connect with your heart, with the internal truth. Not reading books anymore, not listening to me, not listening to masters, not listening to your parents, not listening to no authority. There is only your heart and Facebook. You see? You heard that beeping? Somebody is writing to me. But it's always in you. And at some point you're gonna have to turn off the masters, like TV. You got enough, life is not there in TV. You turn it off, you go to forest, you go to see friends, you go out with your dog, you ride a horse, you climb the tree. When you see that TV is not real life, that it's not devotion, you cannot fall in love with TV. It's a fake love. It always brings you disease or something else. And then you switch, you see, again, to different life, to going to the real truth of you, of your heart, to know that we really, with all this spirituality and what's good, what's not, even the guru says, like, you have to breathe this, the other one, if you do, or with the other finger, you start to think, everything's wrong, whatever you do is wrong. You keep abusing yourself, thinking everything's wrong all the time. But what if there was nothing wrong, It's just perception that it's all good. Whatever you breathe like this or like that, or you're a little bit, on the side or angled, the line up with the spine is still like this. Of course, it's more easy to breathe open, but it's not ultimate spiritual truth. That's what I'm saying. You can sit and like this and be a little bit down and still you get enlightened if you really that's your intention. That's what I say. And masters will never say that they're gonna give you 1,000 points to do, but there is no connection, there is no glue, so much glue that I'm missing in my life. Even though I listen all of it, I read all of this, all of those masters, different approaches through the physical, through the mental, through the spiritual, spirit, different approaches from different masters, and there is always glue missing. The glue to really go to your heart, stop listening to all of that. And the real masters then I see who tell you about immortality, about how really it works, how sensitive you get, how the life gets good and a little bit different or worse at the other level, that you don't see people no more. I look at the people in my country right now and I'm terrified. And I've been living there and I haven't seen it when I've been living there. And sometimes I look at the people, I see their fears, their addictions, their abuse and amusement in their head that they're doing to themselves, and they want to use you, they want to be close to you, but always for some reason. If they just want to sit with you and speak nothing, that would be more fair. But they always want to say something or they want to hear something, always something. If you wouldn't provide that for a while, they wouldn't sit next to you at the couch. They would leave and they would stop coming to you. That's what I see with short-term friendships and colleagues and everything. But with long-term is exactly the same, but everything has a longer span. But there is also true love, true friendship, truth in you, true awakening, true enlightenment, that you go, why the master says like, it's so good with the unity and samadhi and kundalini and everything, and through yoga and through breathing I feel so blessed. Why they do not tell all the shit how it was before, and how sometimes the stage of the mess in your head comes back because wife passed away, like some of the masters had a wife and sometimes they die or they leave body because of their awakenings. Maybe that is the truth. Why they don't say how hard it is and how craziness sometimes maybe come back to their mind. Nobody speaks that, you see? They don't speak how it was before the enlightenment, like they were born enlightenment, and that's what it is. And even though they mention like till the 20s or 30s, they had no interest in spirituality, so they had to know how crazy, how much suffering in life you have and I had, and still sometimes I have. That's the difference between me and difference between other people, masters, gurus, who claim enlightenment, but they don't want to enlighten you how much suffering, how much crazy mind, I call it crazy mind, was in you before, that every day you get up in the morning and there was problems, and there was no freedom, there was no free from abuse. The abusement got so deep in life that you're amusement by amused with abused. And you don't even know. And it's a part of society, and that's the part of the following the sheep, and that's the part the masters and guru will not teach you, but that's the part of some books some specific books you can find the truth, that you're going to be strictly said that there is immortality, you're going to be told how to achieve it, how to study really meditation, that all of those masters that I mentioned and there are today at YouTube and the books, they are saying the truth. But you remember the drop of contamination? There is just a drop. You need to contaminate all the truth and to be smart, to keep people unenlightened in darkness forever. Because that's how I see it. But now we get awakened even through that contamination, you know? So there is a great God, everything's perfect, life's perfect, creation is perfect, you are perfect, but if you do something wrong from few points, you're gonna be damned, doomed, you're gonna be sent to hell. That's not true. You see how bad it sounds probably when I say that? It just sounds wrong and it sounds terrible, because when it goes to the heart says it's not true. And what I tell you, it's going to go to your heart, and for many people it will be, yes, that's true. There is no sin, there is no hell, nobody's sending nobody nowhere. The God is more like the religions are saying, but without sin, nobody is getting doomed. People who believe they will, maybe they will if they go to different dimension and they create reality around them and it looks like hell. Maybe that's what the hell is, the creation of self that believes that's been sent to hell. But if you believe something else, it's just creation do something else. And is it that life of ours already look like this on earth? That some people live fame, money, beauty, family, nature, and it's a heaven on earth, and other people just live poverty. Whatever they do, every business is going down. They've been robbed on each corners of this life, literally and metaphorically. So how much truth it is said in today's spirituality? That's the conclusion. How much there is a truth? A lot. How much contamination it is sometimes when I'm checking with my heart? Well, a small drop. But a small drop can make a difference for the whole pool. So I imagine people don't listen to gurus. Well, learn and study them. Like you learn nature, you learn animals, you learn how your body works when you get it, and then you learn whole life. Like in my case, you learn whole life, you know, you eat less and you look good. You lose weight, then you gain weight even though you eat less. How is that possible? You do opposite things to the law of physics that is not possible, but it's possible because in your mind it's naturally possible already, because you download through experience and meditation, you download different things. But as well, how easy it is to download yourself, to record to yourself a fake information that you have to have a 10,000 hours of a work or self-study meditation to become somebody. Well, that's a false abuse of yourself and your spiritual process in the first place. And many studies, many masters will say like, yeah, you can get enlightened in any moment, but first we studied 40 years of yoga. Why to mention that? Who cares how much you study? You see, I've been seeing masters who are having a teenage age or 27 like Bentino Massaro, and they have so much upgrade with attention, awakening, maybe enlightenment. I don't know. They would have to say something about it. But there is so much things you can learn from them. It doesn't mean you have to be 27 or 15 or 40. You don't need 40 years of yoga or 20 years of yoga, 10 years, maybe 10 days, maybe 10 years. Yes, it depends on the person who's working with what. A lot of work to be done. One of the shamans told me, it's a lot of work. And when you say it's not work, you just, bombarding our work, actually. That's what he means. Like it's dangerous to tell people that you don't have to work and you can get awakened or enlightened. So neither masters are telling that, either spiritual gurus, other people, and I'm not saying anything like this as well, but it is not said that you have to study 20 years or 10 years yoga to become more awakened or more happy or more successful or any of this. You don't. Maybe you need some months, maybe some years. For some people it will be whole lifetime, but for the other individuals will be a few days of self-realization. Like I had a walk right now and I noticed all those things I'm telling you right now, I noticed within 1-2 hours of my walk around neighborhood in the evening and being in an apartment myself, just being on a diet few days, healthy thoughts, less work, and more natural, only fruits and vegetables diet. That's what my success for the last 3, 4, 5 days is. And I already got thoughts like this in the evening, for example. So imagine if you get more awakened or enlightenment, how much of awakening is changing your brain and thinking patterns, that you notice so many things about enlightenment, awakening itself, life, why we don't speak about so many things, like there's a taboo things in spirituality, like you have to be guru, master to sell yourself, again, marketing, what is this? US market for selling and living, you know? Free keys to success and sale, and spiritual marketing sale, that's what it is on today's YouTube. Maybe Google YouTube, that's what it's only promoting, no truth, just spiritual masters that are planned through matrix, or other beings that are actually managing this earth, or some people who are managing the earth and saying this can come up and the other thing no. And then the other masters you don't see, because the little people I see, the little people I meet in the jungle, on the desert, sometimes on YouTube, but not with that popularity, I see the truth in them. I see the truth in some breatharianism. I see the truth in the single individuals that are recorded few videos or interview, but beautiful truth. And it's so simple, like my truth. It doesn't go says about the enlightenment and other things. It just say like, I just eat breath. I don't eat nothing, no water, no drinking. People like this, and I see happiness, I see energy from them, I see connection to the heart, and I don't see it in many masters that are most supposedly enlightened beings and gurus. So it all depends where you see the truth. We could speak like this for another half an hour. I just wanted to state the few conclusions. That in this video I'm just saying there's a lot of rooms to explore, and some of the spiritual masters are very proficient in something like going out of body, meditation, enlightenment, kundalini, breathing, whatever, yoga, that they are really your super body with the super skills and everything. And they don't speak about immortality because maybe it's not that room that they can achieve, or they never thought about it, so it's never there, or they know everything about it but they cannot say, so nobody speaks about it, or it's socially not welcome because people cannot understand how you can activate the technology of the body, that yoga and church, everybody were speaking thousands, hundreds of years ago, and these days as well, the technology. Every yogin will tell you it's a technology, it's energy, you activate it through the spine, through the chakrams start to work. He explained technology like a computer work. But why they don't go with it on the mainstream YouTube? You see, YouTube is already not mainstream, and it still have front stage and backstage. And see how much conclusion there is. Look the truth in your eye. Look truth in people's eye, and really feel where is the truth. You know, truth could be somewhere else that we perceived, even with awakening, even with enlightenment, even with the masters and all the history of this humanity and how it's going and how it could be. Look for the heartful people, people who speak through the heart, whatever they look like, whoever they are, people who speak through the heart, and you see truth in them, and you will get to it piece by piece, who's like this and who's not really that much truthful as you thought before. Thank you very much for listening. It was Mike from The Switch, and have a good morning or great evening, and take care.